Hello, my name is Dean Contover, and this is Current Buzz. Today we have a gentleman. His name is Sal Lupoli Jr. He plays for the local Pirates. It's called Massachusetts Pirates. They play at the Sanger Center. And I just found out that he was elected captain of the team, which is kind of unusual for a first-year player, and you only play 2 games.
Yeah, I only played 2 games, so I'm extremely grateful, to be named captain. This was yesterday when they named some guys. Right. A tremendous honor, to your point, only being there for a few weeks. But, I'm going to do my best as a leader, as a player, as a teammate. And, hopefully we can bring this team, along with the other captains and the other leaders of the team, to a championship. So.
Okay. Sal Lupoli Jr. is from Chelmsford, Mass.
Yes.
And that's why he's on the show. He was nice enough to come on the show. I asked him to bring a helmet. He brought his Pirates helmet, and he's playing for them. You were injured last week, right? Are you okay now?
All good. A little ding. It's a long season.
Yeah.
It's not like college or even high school where you tape yourself up, you'll be good to go. They really advise. They talk about it. They say, act like a pro, be a pro. So this is my first kind of introduction to being a pro, where maybe sometimes if you get a little ding, don't worry about it. There's always next game. There's games after that. But I got to be honest, my whole high school career, my whole college career, I never missed one game.
Wow.
So I was on the sidelines itching to get in. I would have played with no pads on if I could, So,
yeah.
But back now, we're playing this weekend, this Saturday. The game is at 7 p.m. right in the Sanger Center.
This is what I want to talk to you about. Let's start where it began.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You were in Chelmsford. You were 7 years old.
Yep.
You were a water boy. What's a water boy do?
I
was a movie called Water Boy.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
Yeah, Adam Sandler. Legend.
It was funny.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was funny.
But as a water boy, so my dad was not the head coach, excuse me. He was the defensive line coach of Chelmsford High. And he started in about 2007.
Okay.
I was 7 years old.
And he played
He
where?
played at Chelmsford High.
High?
All my my parents are both from Chelmsford.
Yeah.
My dad played at Chelmsford High. His brothers played at Chelmsford High. My father went on to play football at Northeastern on a full athletic scholarship.
Good for him.
My uncle Michael then went to play at Brown on a scholarship as well. He played actually with Bill O'Brien.
Right.
They were defensive
Bill
linemen
O'Brien is
together.
the head coach of the Boston College Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles, the football coach.
Okay.
But he was with the Patriots as an offensive coordinator
That's right,
for
he
years.
was. Yeah.
Our family.
Aware of my football history. Yeah.
Our family, a long lineage of football. So.
Okay, cool. So you started at 7. What did you do as a water boy?
Yeah.
What's the,
it was kind of like just in my dad's pocket all day, watching football. I'd grab the water, give it out to the older kids.
Okay.
And it's funny because these kids were 15 to 18 years old, but they were gods to me. I was a 7-year-old kid who loved football. I used to sleep with a football.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
I was infatuated with the game. So even handing water to these kids, or after they do a kickoff, I'd run in the field and grab the tee and run off. My dad would pretend to time me. So I was always around the game as a kid.
Okay.
And I would travel a lot, every home game, every away game, was in the locker room with all the guys. So I've been around Chelmsford High football I was there the year they won the Super Bowl in 2007.
Oh, is that right?
Timmy Rich.
Wow.
I go back, I know some legends that played at Chelmsford High, just throughout the years from being around those guys. So.
Lately, the new coach, George.
Yes.
He takes them to Veterans Day on November 11th. He takes a football team.
Oh, that's amazing.
To the ceremony.
Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what it's about.
They meet veterans, etc., and shake hands, whatever they do.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But okay, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So middle school, what happens there?
I went to McCarthy Middle School.
Okay.
That was, what is now 5th to 8th grade. And
No, it's now 7th to 8th grade.
It's now 7th to 8th grade. See, when I went, I'm dating myself.
Yeah, exactly.
When I went, it was
getting older.
Yeah, geez, Louise. But when I went, it was 5th to 8th grade.
Okay.
And but normal middle schooler, played Pop Warner, played a couple other sports, was a lacrosse player as well. Right. Played basketball, but I wasn't very good. Okay. Played for the local Chelmsford team. But yeah, normal middle school life. Went to McCarthy, loved it. Pop Warner, started E-team, finished up 8th grade as A-team.
Now, did you guys, after class at the McCarthy, did you walk over to Sully's?
Of course,
Yeah,
Fridays.
yeah,
That was the big thing.
Exactly.
I remember, my sister was a couple years older than me, so she got the first taste of it. And when I was a 5th grader, that was like, oh, we're walking to Sully's.
Yeah.
Maybe you walk with the girl, maybe you hold the girl's hand, so it was it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Hey, text the buddies or talk to the buddies. Hey, we walk into Sully's after
Did
on
you have
Friday.
a phone at that time?
I had a phone with 4 numbers,
okay.
It was, nowadays, I'm sure these guys have, ladies and guys have the iPhones and the whole thing.
Yeah, they have that.
We had
16
mom,
Pro.
dad,
Yeah.
sister, and maybe one phone number I could put my buddy in.
Yeah.
But it was kind of meet at the basketball hoop. Hey, who's going to Sully's? We would get the fraps and the raspberry lime Rickies. That was big.
I like raspberry lime Rickies. Okay, so finally you leave McCarthy, you graduate, and you go into high school.
Yes.
You're a freshman.
Yes.
You try out for the team?
Yep, I was fortunate enough to make the team,
Oh,
along
good.
with my best buddy still, my 2 best buddies still, Joe Vecchione, tremendous athlete.
He was on this show
Yeah.
during high school.
Okay, he was a 3-time state champ wrestler.
Yeah,
So he was a tremendous athlete.
Right.
And my other best friend, Jack Slattery, so we were fortunate enough to be brought up. So we got a taste of the action at a pretty young age, which was great. It's good to get the reps early.
That's right.
But through there, we had Coach Rich as my head coach, who a Chelmsford legend in wrestling and in football. So that was an honor to be able to play for Coach Rich. Plus, I used to watch his son Tim. He was the youngest of his kids, and he was a great quarterback. Led them to a state championship. So
You remember that?
of course I do. Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember what year it was.
It was 07, 08. That's 07, 08 year, I believe, or 06, 07. But
You were in middle school then.
I was 7 years old, so
you were 7.
I'm not too sure what grade,
okay,
or second grade, 5th, 3rd, second grade.
All right.
I was at center school.
All right.
But, I remember, you have those flashes. I remember when you were a kid, the Thanksgiving Day game. I remember it was a real foggy game. It was at Bill Ricca when they were playing. I remember walking up the hill with the team. That was my first glimpse of Thanksgiving Day football. And I remember, I'll never forget, Timmy Rich had this dive and play. And it was just, you remember those things and you take those with you, those legends of Chelmsford, because always a speech, when I was a captain or even just a leader on the team was, we play for the name in the front of our jersey. There's a lot of pride in this town of football,
Sure is.
So being able to see the history when I was a kid and now being a part of that was a tremendous honor. So I took a lot of pride in that, and the other guys did as well. So
We're talking about Sal Lupoli. He plays for the Massachusetts Pirates, and we're talking about his high school experience in Chelmsford. He started as a freshman, made the team, and not junior varsity.
No,
freshman
just
team.
went right to the to the big
All right,
leagues,
all
right?
All right. Well,
Had a couple of hits that I was welcome to the show moments where reality got my head knocked off a few times.
okay.
But you need that as a young kid, you need those reps.
What position?
I played linebacker. I've been playing linebacker and running back my whole life. All throughout Pop Warner, played the same 2 positions. I was also a long snapper. I really played the most. My freshman year, I was snapping a little bit, but Owen McNamara was a great snapper my freshman year. Was a kick returner my freshman year. Put me a little bit on linebacker when, say, we were up big in a game.
Yeah.
But then my sophomore year, I was starting linebacker, starting long snapper, and then that's when it kind of took off from there.
Explain what long snapper is for people that are watching the TV.
Yeah, so long snapper is any special teams where it's like the center of special teams where they get the ball back to the quarterback, you get the ball back to the kicker. So say a 4th and long, say you're punting the ball, you snap the ball to the punter. Now it's a field goal.
What's the distance between?
It depends, high school 13, college 14, the pros 15 yards.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But also field
You
goals.
were the long snapper for the Pirates, I noticed.
Yes, I'm also the long snapper for the Pirates.
Yeah, okay.
So been fortunate enough. I taught myself. My dad at a very young age was like, trust me. And my uncle. My uncle was a snapper. My Uncle Mike. They both got with me at a very young age. Trust me. Learn the skill. It will benefit you. And I remember being a kid, like maybe 15, 16. I'm like, I don't want to do this. It just don't want learning a new skill.
Yeah.
So I didn't want anything to do with it. But as I got better, I saw the value. people go to the NFL just for long snapping. People go to
true.
college just for long snapping.
What's the guy for the Patriots?
Joe Cardone.
Cardone, yeah.
He went to Navy.
Yeah, he went to
Unbelievable
Navy,
long
yeah.
snapper.
He's
So
been there for years.
yes, he has. He's a
still
legend.
there.
Yep. Yeah. So there's value in that.
Yeah.
So I learned that at a very young age. So
Okay, cool. So you're running back. I did see you play when you were running back and
Yeah.
defensive. Tell me what that experience is.
I miss it. I miss running back. I actually went to the coach of the Pirates. I'm like, hey, if you need somebody, please. I led the state in touchdowns my senior year here at Chelmsford.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
I was Offensive Player of the Year for the Merrimack Valley. So I loved running back just as much as I did linebacker. So I miss it. I played a little bit in college. I was able to get on some formations at running back. But no, running back is a great position. I played since Pop Warner.
So you play. It's called playing both ways.
Yeah.
Right. Both ways. It's very unusual. You saw that more in the '50s and early '60s.
Yeah.
High school players would play both ways.
Yeah, we had a couple both-way guys when we were at Chelmsford, like Joe Vecchione, Peter McCarthy, Jack Slattery, Chris Bungard, myself. I can name a few others both-way guys.
On the list.
Yeah.
On
Little Mikey Vecchione, who's Joe's little brother. He's like my little brother. He played both ways. Peter McCarthy, myself. Christian Finn, who was a fellow captain. Jack Slattery, fellow captain. Brendan Pock, great football player, offensive line, defensive line. Chris Bungard, again, great football player, offensive line, defensive line. So only a handful of kids played both ways, which is you're playing the whole game. So you're playing probably 120 snaps, and
yeah,
it's a violent game.
It is.
So it could take a toll on your body,
Yeah.
but it's a rush when you're playing both ways because say the defense didn't go your way, here's your chance on offense to make up for it, or
Right.
vice versa. So
Right. In the draft, they have this draft this month. Travis Hunter plays both ways
Yeah.
for Colorado.
Yep,
What
yep.
do you think of that? I mean,
yeah,
do you
no,
he
I
can
think
make
it's.
it, or
I think I absolutely love it, and it's a test to his athleticism. It's
Right.
a test to his endurance.
good point.
And most of all, a test to his toughness, especially at the college level. It's even at that, like their Division I. Colorado's legit football, so they're playing against the best competition. So playing both ways and making plays both ways. That's why he won the Heisman, because
Yeah,
he's just an
exactly.
incredible football player. But the first was Charles Woodson. He was a real two-way player back at Michigan in the '90s. So who also won the Heisman. So two-way players. It's very rare.
You think the Patriots should draft him?
I think we need.
Number 4.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple mock drafts. We have an offensive line. I look like a tackle that they might be looking at. I don't remember his name, but no, he's a tremendous football player, Travis Hunter, and I'm sure he'll do great in the NFL.
Okay. Back to high school. What's your most memorable?
Memorable time. Wow, there were so many memories. We didn't have the best of luck on the Thanksgiving Day game. We always fought hard, but I would have to say we had a playoff game against Newton South, and it was on Halloween, and that was a big win on the road. We beat them up pretty good, and all the guys were scoring, all the guys were making plays. So that was a very fun game to be in, and that was a great memory.
All right. So you did 4 years at Chelmsford. You played for both ways.
Yes.
Right. And Thanksgiving Day game in New England is very big. If you're new to the area, tried to get to one of those games, whether it's Chelmsford or some other community that you live in, you should go and watch a Thanksgiving Day, because that's a big deal.
Oh, it's everything around here.
Exactly.
It's a big day.
It is. By the way, I just remembered something. I'm sorry. It's off track what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
no problem.
The team went to the St. Patrick's Day Parade in South Boston.
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes, I was in the
How
parade.
did that go?
It was absolutely insane because I grew up going to the parade. Then
Yeah.
when I was in school, all of our friends, we would go to, maybe
Fourth
a
of
house
July
party.
parade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in the South Boston parade.
Yeah,
So
right.
the big St.
Yeah.
Patty's parade. But we would always go in college and
What
even when
about
I was younger.
what about the guys on your team? What did they think about this?
I'm the only local kid,
Yeah.
so we were gearing up for the parade, and all the kids were like, "Sal, what's going on? What's about this?" I'm like, "You guys have no idea. Wait till you see how many Irish people you're about to see. And wait till you see how crazy this
Yeah,
is."
yeah.
Sure enough, you know, we had a little float. Christopher's Towing, local gentleman.
Yeah.
And we were on his truck, and some of us were on the car. Some of us were high-fiving everybody, giving people, you know, some footballs, playing catch with some fans. That was a pretty surreal moment, you know, because I grew up going to something like that, and now being in it, I saw a couple of people that I knew on the other side, and they're like, Sal, what the heck are you doing? And I'm like, here we are, you know, with the Pirates. So extremely humbled and grateful to be a part of that. That was one of the moments where I was like, wow, you know, you have to have a lot of gratitude.
I remember last year they were in the 4th of July parade here in Chelmsford.
See, yeah, I wasn't with the team then. I was doing my thing.
You'll probably
just
do
out of
that.
college.
Stick around 4th of July.
Yeah.
Oh, you're playing anyway. There's a game on July 3rd.
Okay.
So you'll be in the area.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe you should bring them to the Common July 3rd.
Yeah, we could definitely do
Mingle,
something.
yeah.
We could definitely do something fun. I think there's a lot of opportunity you know, with the surrounding towns, and again, I'm very fortunate enough to be the only local football player. So I think a lot of people that are in the Merrimack Valley like to see one of their own. So
wasn't there a quarterback last year?
Connor Dagenhart. He's from Westford. He went
yeah.
on to play at Holy Cross. Tremendous football player.
Okay.
Then I played against him at New Haven. He transferred to New Haven for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Westford kid. Tremendous football player.
Okay, cool. Let's get back to
Yes.
the real. So you spent 4 years. You graduated 2018, the class of 2018. Then you go to Phillips Academy for a year.
Yeah.
That was a different experience, huh?
That was certainly a different experience, you know, and that was a conversation that I was having myself before it happened. I heard about the prep school because one of my best friends from Chelmsford, Jack Gump, he's a year older, great lacrosse player, went on to play Division I lacrosse.
Oh, good for him.
You know, he's a tremendous athlete. He did a post-grad year. He kind of put the bug in my ear, you know. It was just another chance for him to get bigger, faster, stronger, get his grades up as well.
Yeah.
And I really, to have the opportunity, if I were to take it, I didn't really see a downside in it. It would have given me more time to do the SATs. It would have given me more time to get bigger, faster, stronger. So I took it, and I was looking at some Choate, Deerfield, in Phillips, Andover, and ultimately I wanted to stay close to home.
Now, did you commute there? Or
no, I lived on campus. I wanted to get the full experience.
Yeah.
And it was
a whole
beautiful.
different world, isn't it, in regards to?
It's night and day, and I'm happy.
I mean, that's like a college campus. I've been on that campus.
It's insane. You know, they have a beautiful museum like you would see at Harvard. They have
Yeah.
a building called the George Washington Building. And why do they call that the George Washington? Because he spoke. George Washington spoke at that building. Phillips Andover Academy is one of the oldest, if not the oldest school in the country. So that was a tremendous honor to be able to go there. There's a rich history in academics at that school, so being able to be a part of that was
And just
amazing.
meeting the people from all over the world.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I had kids in my dorm. You know, for example, one kid, his family practically started what's equivalent to Times Square in Beijing. So there's all backgrounds all over the world.
Yeah.
My direct roommate was a basketball player from London. The room next to me was a hockey player. He was from Colorado. You know, so I met some great people, and I still talk to a lot today.
You
yeah,
do.
I do,
Okay.
which is great.
So you finished Phillips, a great experience.
Yes.
Then you decide to go to college. You had Villanova and Bentley in your.
Yes, I had Villanova. Came down to Villanova and Bentley, and I think ultimately I wanted to stay. Again, I'm a homebody. I love my family. I love being around my family. I want to stay close to home. And my sister also went to Bentley, and also it's a business school.
Yeah.
And I want to get into business in my life, and it's one of the best business schools. You know, and I might be a little biased, but if not the best in the country. You know, hey, accounting, finance, it's up there.
Wait till you go for your MBA in regards to Harvard.
Yeah, well, I'm currently getting my MBA now at Bentley. I'm taking
Bentley?
classes in person, so it's an interesting juggle going from practice right to class. So.
Wow, okay, that's cool. But you're right at this moment, you live in the North End in Boston.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
What a great neighborhood. I used to live in the North End.
It's a tremendous, especially being an Italian
Yeah,
kid.
I
You know,
know.
my sister with her fiance, they're getting married in June.
Okay, cool.
Michael DiDonato, another
Where?
Chelmsford legend.
Where are they going to get married?
In the Cape.
Down the Cape.
Yeah,
All right,
they've been
cool.
together since high school. He played baseball here. Tremendous athlete, hockey player, captain, record breaker at Endicott for baseball. So, you know, they're living in the North End. My cousin lives in the North End. My two best friends, one I live with, my other best friend from Bentley, right up the road.
Cool.
No place I'd rather be.
Yeah, I know. I only have like 10 minutes to go. So we've got, you go to Bentley, you're the player of New England, the NCAA Division II and Division III.
Yeah.
Bentley's a Division II school,
Division
right?
II program, yes.
There's 3 divisions in college sports. Division I, usually it's the Syracuse's and
Yep.
Boston College. There's Division II, which is Bentley and
Yes.
other colleges, and Division III. Which is probably state colleges and
Yeah.
smaller colleges.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you become player, the top player in New England. I mean,
Yes, very fortunate enough.
And then you become this is by the New England Football Writers that they say
yes,
that you're
sir.
the best. And then you're MVP in Northeastern as defensive player of, you know.
That was a Jack.
I did my research.
Yes,
so, yeah.
no. Again, I want to also say I'm very grateful to be on the show and thank you for
Yeah,
for
thank
doing
you.
that.
No problem. Thank you.
But yes, was very fortunate enough to be named those accolades. I remember I was, you know, the way they do is the All New England team, and then they have a player of New England. So I was fortunate enough to be All New England team as a junior, and I remember the player that was All New England when I was a junior, the Gold Helmet Award they call it, the best of the best was Zay Flowers. He's now on the Baltimore Ravens. He went to BC. And I remember sitting there, I say, you know, what an honor would that be if I was up there, you know, and sure enough, next year, I was offense, defense, they named me the player of the year. You know, I believe in hard work and I believe in visualization and seeing things before they happen. And that's a, you know, if you work.
That's unusual in regards to tackling somebody and you see
a lot of
you
offensive
see the
guys
play,
in that
yeah.
award.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
that's
so
true.
being a
I'm sorry,
defensive
you're
guy.
a defensive player. That's
Yeah.
right. It's an offensive award mostly.
Yeah, so being a defensive guy,
Yeah.
you know, I
Good point.
want to do pride myself on my tremendous work ethic,
Yeah.
but I do have a great team around me, my father, my mother, my sister, my coaches from Bentley.
And they were all over. They go to the games.
Yeah, they go to all the games.
When I was at the first game, there were at least 75 people from Chelsea.
Yeah, we had 70 people at the
It
game.
was well, it was a good call.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, God, I got this section there. I have these tickets, and all these people from Chelmsford around me. I'm saying, what the heck is going on, right? Your dad's yelling.
He was
And,
crazy.
Yeah, he was happy. So you go, you finish college, you graduate with all these accolades,
Yeah.
right? And then you get a phone call from Tennessee Titans, one
Yes.
of the scouts. Tell me about going to mini camp for, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah.
How do they feed you? What do they do? I mean, because I don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
So that's why
I mean,
I'm
I
asking
could
this
spend the
question.
next 6.5 minutes, but I
yeah.
won't.
Okay.
But it was a combination of the sacrifice that I put in since high school, the work that I put in, and you know, I've always heard, and I love to read, I love to watch the YouTube videos. I have heroes of mine that talk about the sacrifice that needs to be put in, the obsession that if you want to achieve something, what it takes. And I really bought into that. So to go through years of blood, sweat, and tears, and to finally get a phone call from the NFL, being a Chelmsford kid, being a Division II football player, that stuff doesn't really happen.
No.
You know, so.
Usually they take them from Division I.
Yeah,
unless
you know,
unless they're Bill Belichick. They
Yeah,
might take
really
something
the
from
only other
Division
player was Dan Curran out of Chelmsford to have any action in the NFL. So being able to get that phone call, it was like the most euphoric feeling I've ever felt in my life,
kidding.
to be honest, because I've worked so hard and sacrificed, and I've done so much to this game. I've given my body to this game, and to be rewarded like that was amazing, to get to the NFL. So to answer your question, it was first class. You know, they fed you like kings. You walk into the cafeteria, there was people making smoothies for you. There was omelet lines. There was between if it was breakfast, lunch, or dinner, all was first class. There was snacks you could grab and go. You know, their facilities were top notch. You know, you're talking the NFL.
Weight room.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Turf on one side, you know, weights, 15, 20 racks, free weights that go up to 150. You know, I mean, got some big boys.
Yeah,
lifting some big weights. So, but that's how I would explain that. A lot of emotion, because there was, being an underdog, we're not supposed to be at that level. Being a Chelmsford kid, you're always told you're never going to be there. You know, being a Bentley kid, you're always told, you know, you're never going to be there. Why don't you just focus on business? But I saw it so clearly when I was a kid. I visualized it, and I believed in it, and that's a big part of it. I believe, you know, for people that are watching, young kids that are in similar shoes, you have to believe in yourself, you know, because if you believe in yourself and you see it before it happens and you put in the work and you obsess over it, good things will happen. So that's a test of that.
After that,
Yes,
they
sir.
say to you what?
They say, so I played linebacker my whole life.
Yeah.
I got brought in as a safety.
Okay.
They say, listen, Sal, we love your energy, we love your passion, you're a great athlete.
Yeah.
Why don't you go get film at safety, go get more film against better competition, because that was a big notch on my belt. Okay, he led the country in tackles. Okay, he was an All-American, but he's doing it against Division II.
Yeah.
I want to see him do it against the Alabamas of the world, the Floridas of the world. So I was fortunate enough
Or
to...
Georgia.
Or the Georgia, yeah. I was fortunate enough to be, you know, to play professional right now with the Pirates, where I can get that film against, you know, great competition.
So that's what it's about. It's about getting film.
This is right now about getting film.
film. Okay.
And, you know, hopefully, knock on wood, and again, I visualize it, I believe it, to be called up, you know, to the next level as far as the NFL.
So when would that happen? After the season is over?
So it could happen. The draft is April 30th, so, you know, God willing, getting a phone call sometime after the draft.
Oh, you think you might that might happen?
Hopefully, you know, I'm my agent. We're doing some work, also with the CFL. But, you know, a lot of stuff is in the works right now.
Canadian Football League, CFL?
Yeah, that's where Doug Flutie played.
Yeah.
You know, so a
I
lot of
remember him.
legend. A lot of works is being put in, but all I can do right now is control what I can control, which is getting film on tape, keeping my mind sharp, keeping that belief, keeping that work ethic. You know, still being around my support. That's another thing, is I'm extremely grateful and thankful that my tight circle, I have a tight circle of friends and family that have
You're not
been
kidding.
with me.
They showed up at the game.
In this journey, and uncles and aunts that have believed in me, you know, when other people haven't, and have given me the pep talk of stick with it, Sal, because you can do this. And that's a beautiful thing to have,
good.
so I'm grateful.
Would you like some of the players from the Merrimack Valley to show up, the Pirates?
Please, you know, we would love to get everybody at these games. You know,
some of these places in Arizona, it's packed out.
Yeah, a lot of places, because in that particular city, that's all they, you know, Boston. We're blessed to be in a great city with beautiful sports.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but if anybody in the MVC, you know, all surrounding towns, there's a local boy, you know, trying his hardest, and you know, there's a lot of guys that would love on the team that would love to see that arena packed out. We do so many fun events at the games. It's such a fun event. It's entertainment. It's almost like WWE of NFL. You know, it's very entertaining.
If the football goes into the crowd, they keep the football.
They keep the football. There's pads along the board. You can hit people into the pads. There's one-handed catches. It's an exciting game.
Yeah. You did very well the first game. I watched the first game. You blocked a kick. I was really impressed with that. And you recovered a fumble. They didn't say that in the paper, though.
Yeah, no, I recovered a fumble, but also led the team in tackles that particular game. You know, so hoping to, you know, build off that in this coming week.
All right, good. Anything you want to say? We got less than a minute. Anything you want to say to people?
Yeah, you know, definitely come out to the games. You know, we'd love to have the fans.
Reasonable priced?
Yeah, reasonable price, right in the Songers Arena, right in Lowell. It's close.
Parking is easy?
Yeah, parking's
right
easy.
Now, yeah.
I also want to say thank you to my mother and father and sister for always being there, and Michael DiDonato always being there supporting me. And
what about the owner?
Jawad, I'm very thankful to Jawad as well, and the Pirates, extremely grateful. I do not want to leave that out. I'm extremely grateful to the Pirates.
Because you almost went to Illinois to play.
Yes, Quad City.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed to be able to stay home in front of my peers and my family.
And everybody shows up and starts yelling about it.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you after the show why I knew there were people from Jumpsuit there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it on the air, right? So good luck with your thing. I think you could do it.
Thank you very much,
no
sir.
problem.
Thank you.
You call me Dean. It's all right.
Dean, thank you.
But it's just funny that we know a lot of people, the same people, you know. Daily Catch. We're through. So
okay.
the Daily Catch.